My project for EDUC 794 is titled, What Did You Say? It is pronunciation for high school intermediate to low advanced adult ESL learners. The idea for my project came from my brother-in-law. He is a Salvadorian who came to the United States about 10 years ago and has taken English classes through many different organizations and community colleges, but his pronunciation is still mediocre. He struggles to have conversations and his confidence is low when speaking with individuals in English. I know that the Esperanza Center, a center run by Catholic Charities located in Baltimore City, teaches English to ELLs of very similar demographics. I wanted to focus on pronunciation within those classes because I know that even after taking courses and living in the United States for many years, an ELL can struggle with pronunciation if they are never explicitly taught how to say words and stress specific syllables within a word or sentence. My project will utilize the Esperanza Center's current 10-week program for ELLs and will use their chosen method for pronunciation teaching. This method is called the Color Val Chart, which I will go into further in this presentation. This project will set volunteer teachers up for success while teaching pronunciation within this 10-week program. The material that I have developed will be implemented into the Train the Trainer program and will also be utilized throughout the 10 weeks. This project focuses on the subject of pronunciation for English language learners at Esperanza Center in Baltimore City, Maryland. While ELLs in the Esperanza Center receive very useful ESL face-to-face instruction which prioritizes communication as the main goal, they are not specifically taught how to pronounce English phonemes properly, nor are they made aware of which phonemes they are erroneously enunciating. Accurate pronunciation is a major factor in what constitutes good English communication skills. However, it is often dismissed or glazed over during English lessons offered at the Esperanza Center. There are 3 profiles within this project. The first is the English language learner themselves. The majority of these learners are Hispanic and their native language is Spanish. There are a variety of ages from 18 and up. Most of these adults have high school or less education. Some have college degrees and a few have advanced degrees, but the majority of the students have not completed basic education. Their stated goals for studying English are to get jobs, converse in English, and be able to perform daily tasks within the community. This can mean going to the bank, going grocery shopping, or even just interacting with community members. Their needs are knowledge on pronunciation, utilization of the Color Val Chart. They need to understand how to use this Color Val Chart and the importance of it. They must understand that there is word and sentence stress, and they need to know how to produce this stress. They also need to focus on pronunciation of difficult sounds. This can be based on their native language. These individuals also need motivation to continually attend these ESL classes. The drop-off rate for these 10-week courses is about after 6 weeks. ELLs need confidence to use English, and this pronunciation project should help them gain confidence when they learn how to pronounce words and feel confident speaking. Lastly, they need a safe learning environment and materials. The Esperanza Center is a safe learning environment where they will hopefully continue to feel supported and respected. They also need the tutors, who are the volunteer teachers, audio players, which can be their phones, and the Color Val Chart. The profile for the second group of individuals are the volunteer teachers. They are the target audience for this project since they will receive and use the training and materials from this project. They are the most constant in this equation since they are expected to attend all 10 sessions. The demographics are college students who generally need credits for class and older adults who are often retired. There are also a few general public individuals who just want to serve ELLs. Their needs are knowledge on how to teach the pronunciation of letter names and sounds in the alphabet. So for example, B would be the name and B would be the sound. They need to know how to use the Color Val Chart. They need to know the importance of word and sentence stress as well as how to teach it. And they also need to know how to identify difficult sounds for ELLs based on their native language. They need motivation to teach. Some of the motivation comes from requirements from a school, while other just comes from intrinsic motivation. They need confidence in their teaching skills. They also need an environment and materials conducive to teaching. This includes posters, workspace, dry erase boards, and the curriculum with the addendum from this project. The last profile is Catholic Charities, the Esperanza Center, and their employees. Catholic Charities is an organization that is headquartered in Virginia. They have many regional locations, and one happens to be in Baltimore, Maryland. Within those regional locations, each Catholic Charities is able to support and fund programs which they find important. Baltimore runs the Esperanza Center, and they fund them. The Esperanza Center is an immigrant resource center, and it offers many different services. They offer service and referrals, ESL education, healthcare, and low-cost immigrant legal services. There are 8 ESL employees that work at the Esperanza Center in Baltimore. The needs for these organizations and people are how many clients are being administered English lessons, what are the test scores, information on how the students are progressing, and also information on volunteer participants. Lastly, they need to know how much funding is available for the Esperanza Center and the ESL program in particular. Catholic Charities needs motivation for funding the center, and the employees need motivation for working at the center. The environment and materials needed are the physical location, which they currently have, money to support salary for employees, and donations for supplies. The program goals, which we will call terminal objectives for this project, are given an explanation during the volunteer training on how important pronunciation practice is to the success of ELL's conversational English. Volunteer teachers will be able to describe the significance of the exercises and the color vowel chart to the English language learners. Given the training material located on the website, volunteer teachers will be able to provide one-on-one training and activities to the English language learners during the one-on-one tutoring sessions. Over the course of the 10-week semester, a total of 20 hours of class, volunteer teachers should be able to evaluate their English language learners' ability to utilize the color vowel chart and their capability of applying its teachings to their English pronunciation practice. As stated earlier, the volunteer teachers are the individuals who will be the target audience for this project. The English language learners will receive the lessons and the knowledge disseminated from the volunteer teachers. The training program includes the volunteer teaching training prior to the beginning of the 10-week semester. This is a 3.5-hour training that includes 30 minutes worth of PowerPoint on the pronunciation program. Volunteer teachers will learn how to use the color vowel chart and will hopefully gain buy-in to this tool. The pronunciation material located on the website will also be introduced and explored within this 30 minutes. Volunteer teachers are asked to teach 30 minutes of pronunciation within each tutoring session, which should equal about 5 hours of total pronunciation practice for each ELL. There are lessons and activities provided on the website which will help occupy this time. On the website, there is what we call modules or weekly lessons. These weekly lessons have similar goals. Week 1 is just the introduction to the color vowel chart for the ELLs. It gives lessons to help them learn the tools and the value of this chart. Weeks 2 through 10 have the repetitive lessons which stress pronunciation practice. The lessons include readings from a native language speaker related to each week's theme that is currently in the curriculum at the Esperanza Center. The goal was to help create an addendum to their curriculum so that volunteer teachers would have an easy time inserting the extra pronunciation practice into the current curriculum. I did not want to create different methods that were not supported by the Esperanza Center, and I did not want to take up the entire 2-hour tutoring session with pronunciation practice because I knew realistically that that would not be implemented. The goal was to create material that supplemented and supported the current curriculum, but that filled the knowledge gap for the English language learners. This is the color vowel chart. I recreated it with better images and graphics, but it was developed by 2 teachers who created this method of teaching pronunciation. It focuses on demonstrating the different sounds that each word could possibly create. While there are only 5 vowels plus the letter Y, there are at least 15 vowel sounds that could be created in English words. The website I created demonstrates the color vowel chart and other pronunciation material is located on the website esperanzacenter.weebly.com. On this website you will see the pronunciation homepage, which hosts the color vowel chart and color vowel word list to demonstrate. For example, if an English language learner were trying to pronounce peaches, you would use the chart to demonstrate the E from peaches within the green T box. Other words that have the same sound as green tea are peaches, beans, jar of peanut butter, cheese, zucchini. If you scroll down, you can also see letters and the way you would pronounce them. So A, for example, sounds like the word gray. And if you look back at the chart, A, as in gray day, sounds like the letter A. B sounds like the letter green tea. E, B. Another page on this website is weekly activities. This is where the volunteer teachers will be expected to go to complete each lesson. As mentioned earlier, weeks 2 through 10 have activities that are related to the curriculum topics. Week 2 happens to be time and weather. The activity for week 2 is for volunteers to play the YouTube recording about time and weather. Then the English language learners should follow the text being read so that they can read and listen at the same time. Then the English language learners should read the same article and record themselves. The goal of this activity is for the English language learners to hear the native language speaker pronouncing each of the words in the article, and then to hear the way that they pronounce it. They should compare and contrast their recording with the YouTube version, and then work on pronouncing the words that they struggled with. The next 3 tabs on this website are for teaching resources. They're ways for volunteer teachers to teach words and sentence stress. They demonstrate how your mouth should move and where you should pronounce sounds within the mouth movement tab. And the last tab shows difficult sounds by native language. So for example, since many of the students speak Spanish as a native language, the website highlights the letters that they may struggle with, and this will give the volunteer teachers the opportunity to really focus in on those particular phonemes. The good thing about this website is that it's accessible not only on computers, which the Esperanza Center has, but also can be accessed through mobile devices. So volunteer teachers can either look at the website before class, at their home, when they're thinking of how they might teach, and they can look at them within the class period. The development timeline for this project was 3 months, which is basically the length of this class. The total hours spent on the entire process was 90.5 hours. This process included the analysis phase, designing the project, and developing the entire website and material. The last 2 stages of the ADDIE process, implement and evaluate, will begin in the fall when the new semester kicks off. The budget for this project was nothing. The development was free, and this is because the website was hosted on a free site. The designer's time was donated, and the implementation will be free. All the classroom space and material are already owned by the Esperanza Center, and the only optional cost could be purchasing recording devices for the activities. That said, most of the volunteer teachers will have smartphones or recording devices, and some of the students will also have personal cell phones that they can use as recording devices. In case individuals do not have this option, the Esperanza Center also has a mobile computer lab that they can use to record individuals. The evaluation of this project falls mostly on evaluating the volunteer teachers. As a reminder, the terminal objectives for this project are for the volunteer teachers to be able to describe the significance of the exercises and the color value chart to the ELLs. This can be done by observations and interviews. The volunteer teachers must also be able to provide the one-on-one training and activities to the ELL during the one-on-one tutoring session. This will be evaluated through observations, interviews, and a post-survey at the end of the 10 weeks. Lastly, the volunteer teachers must be able to evaluate their ELL's ability to utilize the color value chart and their capability of applying its teachings to the English pronunciation practice. So again, the evaluation is of the volunteer teachers utilizing the color val chart and recognizing if they're able to apply it to their pronunciation practice. Observations, interviews, and surveys can also gather this knowledge. The pre-survey sets volunteer teachers up to get a base idea of if they're ready and willing to practice to use these techniques. The post-survey is to really gather the information on whether they thought they hit the objectives or not. I hope you enjoyed this presentation of my pronunciation project, which will be implemented starting the fall of 2017 at the Esperanza Center. I currently work as an instructional designer for Johns Hopkins University at the Armstrong Institute for Patient Safety and Quality, and I'm excited to be starting an adjunct teaching position this fall with the Maryland Institute College of Art. I will be teaching an academic writers workshop to ELL freshmen. I will also be volunteering at the Esperanza Center, and I am excited to test out my pronunciation project. Thank you for your time and have a great day.